Okay, so I wanted to just summarize chapters 9, 10, and 11 for this week. I feel like I've been a little bit out of touch with you, and so I wanted to kind of talk about the culmination of this book, although there is one or two more chapters left in Duffy. But this quality caring in nursing and health systems model, we're getting to the self-advancing systems and talking about what is required so that the system can be self-advancing, and this system can be the patient or the healthcare system or the nursing system. So I wanted just to take a few minutes to go through that. So if you remember, in chapter 1, Duffy said that nurses need to assume responsibility for high quality care, and they need to take responsibility for identifying the problems and the areas of waste, making new plans for improvement, and then tracking those improvements. And then talking about preventing missed nursing care. So looking at this slide, taking accountability for your nursing practice, for your nursing staff, be a decision maker, be sure of what is going on, analyze it, and then work to improve it. Recognize your power and the power that you hold to provide quality nursing care. And then again, prevent the missed care, which clearly is omitted care, and then this omitted nursing care relates then to the adverse events, which decreases quality, blocks quality. Be responsible for the patient-nurse relationship and build in time for nurses to have that relationship. And we'll get through to the end talking about how important that the leader has to view the nurse-patient relationship. This will prevent adverse effects and will prevent missed nursing care. So these chapters ask you to view quality as a process, and a process that is continuous learning leading to continuous improvement, and putting caring into all the relationships, the relationship to the patient, to the family, to other professionals, to other nurses, in the process of providing quality care. There is a chart on page 36 of caring factors, and I have them listed here, but if you go back to chapter 3 and look at what mutual problem solving is, what attentive reassurance is, human respect, an encouraging manner, an appreciation of unique meanings, a healing environment, basic human needs, and affiliation needs, and really understand those and work them into your project and your practice as you move along. Take the patient's perspective. Never forget the patient's perspective. When you're planning your project, when you're planning your care, make sure that you are aware of the patient's perspective and how they will respond to what you are asking in the change. Duffy says that these self-advancing systems aren't linear, and we know that about patients. We know they don't go from here to there in a straight line. The temperature will decrease in a straight line. We know we will have spikes. And so be aware that it's not linear. Be aware that it's based on having a relationship with the professional and that it's grounded in caring. These self-advancing systems, again, contribute to positive outcomes and need caring in order to have positive outcomes. On this slide then, I think it's on page 168 of your book, and really then also takes into account the staff's perspective, because again, people don't like change. Now this is on page 163. This is a figure 9.1 on page 163. And it asks you to, again, give the caring feeling to the professionals that you work with, the physicians, the physical therapists, the nutritionists, the respiratory therapists, the unlicensed personnel, so that they feel a sense of pride, enjoyment in their work, secure and safe, have a positive outlook. Having this positive staff perspective also increases quality outcomes and is part of the quality model. When we have relational aspects in professional practice, it helps to build a system of practice improvement and thus a self-advancing system. Everybody needs to see their role as continuously improving their practice, continually improving the delivery of care. We are never at the top. We are always going to run into situations where patients need something different, and so we have to see ourselves as being able to change to meet the needs, to grow, to learn, to expand. Make sure that your staff's perspective is that they want to stay close to the patient, they want to find meaning in their work, and they want to genuinely relate to those with whom they work and spend a great part of their day. Okay, so you as the leader, because the DNP really is developing you as a leader in nursing practice. It's the terminal degree, and so you are learning, you're improving, you're strengthening to provide quality outcomes. You're strengthening and improving to analyze situations to then provide quality outcomes. And so on page 179, Duffy says that leaders need to guide nursing practice so that, again, the first responsibility is the patient. Not allowing nurses to get out of caring for the patient by saying, well, I have all this paperwork, and never viewing the patient. Keep the nurses with the patient. Avoid giving the tasks to the unlicensed and lesser trained personnel. Duffy talks about choosing models of care that address nursing's role in caring for the clients. Currently, we're in a very pushy business model. We're using business models to provide care and cut cost, and Duffy says that perhaps this is saying customer service is what people want, but really they can tell when nursing care is caring. Maintain the meaning in the work of the nurses. Don't let them become burned out. Don't let them see their role as minimal in providing this quality care. And then when you are working on your project and implementing your project and asking people to change, you want to make sure that you check back with the staff and those working around you and ask them for their experiences with the change. You want to know how it's affecting them, how they feel, because you never want to be in such a bubble, in such a silo that your project is going to be implemented and that's it, case closed, no room for discussion. You'll lose your staff on that, and you will perhaps weaken the role of nursing practice if you're not getting feedback from those nurses. So again, Duffy says use her quality caring model to lead, to be in their position of leadership. Again, giving these attentive reassurance to the staff, human respect, have an encouraging manner, appreciating the context in which they're working, providing a healing environment, and meeting basic human needs. Again, we see this list, and Duffy says, get up, walk around, and engage people so that you can see their contributions. Safeguard the patient-nurse relationship. Cultivate caring relationships and live the caring factors. So, some, perhaps a majority of Doctorate of Nursing Practice graduates will go into education, and Duffy has a lot to say in Chapter 11 about educating the new nurses, the new generations. She says develop relationships with students, be caring, and offer guidance. Foster the patient-first responsibility instead of you are the ward clerk, you are the secretary. Really get them to appreciate their role with the patient. Again, provide those caring factors. Here we see it again. Attentive reassurance, mutual problem solving, an encouraging manner, meeting basic human needs. I hear students who tell me different hospitals that they go to and say, the nurses were so mean, the nurses were not helpful. Cultivate in your staff, in your area, model the behavior yourself of working with students and how to educate the next generation. She mentions these 3 domains of learning where caring is, and she puts affective domain at the top. The affective domain is the feeling aspect of learning, and the values aspect. Put patients' rights first, caring factors first. The cognitive domain is the thinking domain, the use of facts, having people read, listen, and describe things accurately. And then the psychomotor domain of learning is the motor skills that they're doing, so that they're doing their techniques correctly, that they're doing their tasks correctly, that they're patient teaching in the proper way. Most of all, convey passion for nursing. You are the DNP. Be clinically credible. Be knowledgeable about current practice. Use methods of practice improvement. Engage students and staff, and convey the passion for nursing at all times. Evaluate your relationships with nurse preceptors and students, and also those you're teaching. If you have a project where you're teaching perhaps not nurses, but techs, new information, increase the time you spend with those learners, acknowledge their strengths when they do something good, include the patient's perspective in your presentations so that all learners are always aware of the patient's perspective as being very important to any new project, and use tools to measure outcomes. Instead of just changing things, measure the outcome to show the importance of nursing and these new methods. Thank you very much.